What's this store?
Let's see. KYforKY. It's a pretty clever name.
Should we check it out?
Yeah, I mean, look out there. I mean, like, oh, they got shirts in there, some
nice mugs.
Oh yeah, maybe some socks. Okay. Hey, come check this out. Come on.
Come with us. Come with us.
Wow.
This is a nice store.
Cool. Yeah, look.
I'm gonna buy this.
KYforKY is a small business located in Lexington, Kentucky, with both an online store and 2 retail locations within the city. Their mission is to engage and inform the world by promoting Kentucky people, places, and products. The KYforKY company belongs to an industry of similar small boutique-like stores in the area, like Shop Local Kentucky. Both specialize in Kentucky-themed apparel, gifts, and accessories. In this project, our goal was to observe both the brick-and-mortar stores as well as their website. We visited KYforKY in both the Summit at Fritz Farm location and the Bryan Avenue location, as well as the website.
At the Summit at Fritz Farm location, the retail experience begins when you enter the store. It is an outdoor shopping pavilion with high-end retail and dining. The outdoor speakers play modern indie music that creates a relaxed, easygoing vibe. KYforKY is located within a larger store called The Barn. The Barn also includes the restaurants Whiskey Bear, Athenian Grill, Atomic Ramen, Crank and Boom, Sugar Co., and Bath & Body Works are on either side of the barn. Shoppers can arrive to the barn and thus KYforKY by either driving or walking. Parking is limited, so it is difficult to find a spot directly in front of the store you're looking for. The Summit is small, so casual shoppers can walk around, enter stores that interest them, and at the Bryan Avenue location, the retail experience begins when you enter the store. It is a standalone store and has a plain front. Shoppers have to arrive by driving, and finding the store was difficult. It was off a main road, but there were no signs indicating the location. As to the website, the retail experience begins when you open the webpage. It is the first result on Google, so it's easy to find. The URL is simple and easy: www.KYforKY.com.
Once you enter the barn at the Summit at the Fritz Farm, you enter KYforKY through a wide opening from the main area. There are no windows or doors. KYforKY was a lot smaller than I expected, even too small for much of the transition zone. The entire store was visible from the entrance. At my time of visit, there were 6 people there, including myself and an employee, and the store was crowded. At KYforKY at the Bryan Avenue, there was one double-door entrance at the front of the store. Towards the front, there was another window and a garage door as well. The double doors were wide open on the day of my visit, giving an air of inviting customers in. The transition zone was large and spacious. As for the website, there were 6 main tabs at the top that easily point out where to find what you're looking for. Under those tabs are numerous subsections. It is easy to click back and forth between products you're browsing. As a whole, the website is appealing and inviting upon first look. There is enough color without being overwhelming, and items are organized neatly.
In regards to traffic flow at the Summit at Fritz Farm location, every customer followed a similar path around the store. There were only 2 initial paths regardless of which street you entered the barn from, taking either the right aisle or the left aisle first. A display front and center separated the sides. Most people first went right because it felt natural to proceed throughout the store the same way you would drive on the right side of the road and walk on the right side of the hallway. The display table that was set up in the front and center made traffic proceed in the U shape. People checked out the right side of the store first, walking back toward the register, and then up to the left side of the store, walking towards the transition zone. In my observation, the main display table that could be seen from the common area drew people in the store. Then the signs above the clothes and accessories drew the eye upwards and helped distract from the lack of square feet. At the Bryan Avenue location, the main display at the entrance separated the store into the right side and left side. In contrast to the Summit location, this store felt very open and airy. It was a single large room with inventory spread out. There was a lack of structured aisles. Rather, displays were in different locations throughout the store that attracted my attention. Upon visiting the website, the first pop-up slide was the shop icon. This attracted me as a potential customer to the apparel section, and I was particularly interested in the t-shirts. The website was easy to navigate and gave suggestions for other similar items to look at on the page of the current item you were browsing.
Only one person can really fit down an aisle at a time at the Summit at Fritz Farm location, especially if they're looking at an item and are standing back. Customers were getting in each other's ways at times. There was more distance between the checkout counter and farthest back display than there was between the center display table and the items on the walls. However, visibility is actually pretty good for a small store. Items are arranged so that nothing is really hidden. You can see something you like across the store and proceed towards it. At the Bryan Avenue location, the store was large and similar to a warehouse. In fact, the store used to be a thrift shop. Customers didn't interact with each other and didn't get in each other's way. The space between the displays around the store varied. In some spaces it was tight, and in others there was a good distance between. Visibility in the store was good. Nothing was abnormally large or tall that would block another object or display. The website had a good amount of inventory on display. Some items were out of stock, but there was a large enough variety available while not being too overwhelming with choices.
In my time in Kentucky for Kentucky and the Summit, there was only a family of 4 that entered. It was a dad, mom, an older girl, and a younger boy. The mom and dad were both the shoppers and buyers. Both kids seemed disinterested. At Kentucky for Kentucky at Bryan Avenue, there were 2 customers in the store at my time of visit, a man around 60 years old and a young woman around 30 years old. They were both the shoppers and the buyers. The 30-year-old seemed more interested in the store than the 60-year-old. On the website, anyone from around the country or around the world can access the items Kentucky for Kentucky offers for sale. They offer men's clothing, women's clothing and jewelry, unisex t-shirts, and kids' gear. Even though they cater to a larger audience, I think Kentucky for Kentucky's target demographic are young adults and younger couples who have a bit of a hipster style. Their audience is pretty specific, but I think they do a good job of appealing to them with the wording of their signs and clothing. They convey a half-country, half-hipster vibe that a millennial who is proud to represent Kentucky would wear and use.
At the Summit at Fritz Farm, outdoor signs included a large arrow-shaped sign pointing to the exact location of the barn that was helpful in distinguishing it from the others. There was also a large ad for stores that were included in the barn that was farther down the row of shops on a bare exterior wall. As far as interior signage, they all reflected the message and brand Kentucky for Kentucky stands for. Some examples included a large sign of Lexington Avenue, Colonel Sanders, Churchill Downs, and Jockey Silk artwork. At Bryan Avenue, the outdoor sign indicating Kentucky for Kentucky's location is a small white banner hanging above the doorway. There is a lot of interior design that is similar to that of the Summit store and reflects Kentucky for Kentucky's mission statement. The main attraction is the large green pickup truck with the infamous cocaine bear in the bed. It has become the new mascot for Kentucky. Signs hang from the exposed rafters in the ceiling rather than on the walls like they do at the Summit store. In reference to the website, the Kentucky for Kentucky logo is located at the top center and is eye-catching and appealing because of its symmetry and color coordination. The first picture in the slideshow lineup on the home page displays every type of product that Kentucky for Kentucky has to offer, including sweatshirts, shirts, pennants, socks, cups, and postcards. On the website, you can purchase prints, flags, and pennants like those hanging in the brick-and-mortar stores.
There was no engagement between the employee present and the customers. I wasn't greeted when I entered or saluted when I left. The store could increase consumer involvement by increasing experimental trial, like having a dressing room or mirror so potential customers can see what a product would look like on them before they buy it. However, the space might be too small for a dressing room area, and the clothes there weren't really the type that needed trying on. Another opportunity to increase involvement would be more promotion. On that day at the Summit location only, there was a promotion of 25% off the entire store and a free tote with a $30 purchase. The tote promotion really targets more women than men. A promotion more targeting to men, like bourbon sampling, as you browse the store could have a positive impact because of the feeling of reciprocity. At the Bryan Avenue location, my experience with the employees was much more pleasant. I was greeted when I walked in. Even though the store is much larger than the other, there is still no dressing room here. but it could be a smart addition. A popular photo attraction is the cocaine bear. People can post their picture with it on social media and tag KYforKY and easily generate free publicity for the company. They also had old games lining the walls, like a skee-ball machine. In reference to the website, one of the first things you see when you log on is the promotion of 10% off if you sign up for KYforKY newsletter. There is also a Collaborate tab at the top that is up to date with KYforKY events and speakers, as well as information regarding how to become a retailer or collaborator. Under another tab titled Press, we can see what places like HuffPost, BuzzFeed, USA Today, and A Country Living has said about KYforKY. Lastly, the company is on 4 social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and the links to those sites are on icons on the main banner.
The KYforKY store and the summit at Fritz Farm had both positive and negative atmospheric traits. The parking lot was extremely limited and was somewhat difficult to get to because of one-way streets. There was music playing throughout the barn, but no music inside the store to help distinguish it. The design inside the store used the space well by placing signs above the clothing displays so that the eyes were drawn upwards towards the high ceilings to distract from the lack of space elsewhere. At Bryan Avenue, KYforKY was located in a very plain building. It wasn't eye-catching at all, with a long gray cylinder block exterior. To the right of the doorway was a mural of the late Harry Dean Stanton. I didn't recognize who this was, so I had to do some research to find out. There was no structured exterior sign, only a flimsy white banner above the doorway, which made me feel that the interior contained items that were also cheap and flimsy. There was a large parking lot, but the location was somewhat difficult to find. Inside, the ceilings were high with exposed rafters and air ducts. I had a totally opposite feeling in this store than I did at the Summit location. It was open and airy, while the Summit was somewhat claustrophobic. There was no music playing, but there was no awkward silence, as there was noise coming from the employees working in the back. Focusing on the website's design, the front page was very clean, organized, and attractive. However, when I would click on a specific product from the homepage, the design changed. It was old and outdated, almost like a Craigslist ad. It didn't happen for every product every time, but it was something to note, and its appearance was very displeasing.
In regards to the checkout area at the Summit at Fritz Farm location, the checkout counter was located in the back of the store. There was one register, but there wasn't any customer wait time. If there were to be a line at the register, it would definitely back up and interfere with customers trying to look at the displays. At the Bryan Avenue location, the checkout counter was located right when you walk in. There was still one register, but no customer wait time. However, a line here wouldn't interfere with other customers shopping, as there was more than enough space. On the website, the design of the checkout was once again old, outdated, and looking like a Craigslist ad. However, it didn't appear like that all the time. Regardless, it wasn't appealing and required a lot of scrolling top to bottom to fill out all the required information, and should be fixed so that the old design doesn't show up any of the time. There was an opportunity to enter a gift card code or a promotion code at the top. Customers are given the option to pay with 4 different credit cards or PayPal. There is a text box option to indicate any special delivery instructions to your shipping address, which is important for customers who live in an apartment or condominium with other residents. You are required to check a box that you accept the terms and conditions of your purchase before it can be placed.
At the Summit at Fritz Farm location, there weren't many other issues. Service was okay. The employee smiled at customers but didn't engage with them. It would have been nice to ask how they were or if they needed help finding something in particular. The employee's appearance was neat and clean, but it didn't seem to fit the type of demographic the company is targeting. The store was very clean and organized, but it has to be, located in a space that small. The lighting was bright enough, but not fluorescent. The temperature in the store was comfortable, neither too hot nor too cold. However, there was somewhat of an unpleasant scent because of the wafts of different food smells drifting in from the restaurants inside the barn. The biggest issue at the Bryan Avenue location was that it was difficult to find. It wasn't on a main road, and there were no indicators as you were driving that you were approaching the store. This could be an issue for business, because people wouldn't just stumble upon the store unless you were specifically looking for it. And because the items KYforKY sells are non-essentials, it could be hard getting potential customers to make the trip. In regards to the website, a big issue is the inconsistency with the design. I don't know if the problem occurs for everyone, but the possibility of impacting even one potential customer in a negative way could turn them away. There is also a lot of sub-tabs underneath the main tabs. While this helps organization, it isn't necessary in some aspects. For example, under the Shop tab, there is another subsection titled Tubathon with only one item for sale.
I have 3 suggestions for areas in which the Summit at Fritz Farm location of Kentucky for Kentucky can improve. Firstly, there is a potential for traffic backup at the front of the store because of the large display right at the entrance. An easy solution would be to make the display narrower and utilize tiers to hold the same amount of items but without taking up as much space side to side. Second, my suggestion would be to add mirrors in strategic places to serve as both decoration or signage and can be functionally used by the customers. Lastly, the checkout counter was larger than it had to be. If they cut space from the sides, they could extend the racks farther back and make way for an additional inventory. At the Bryan Avenue location, the first recommendation would be to replace the flimsy outdoor banner with something more permanent. The location is also difficult to find, even with GPS, so I would suggest creating a display or sign that can be seen on the main road. It could even be something as simple as "Turn here for Kentucky." The website is outdated in places and visually appealing in others. The design needs to be updated throughout the different levels for specific products to the checkout cart to make it more consistent.